Hey, David McGuffin here, Travel Talk Tuesday. Welcome to July 25th, 2023. I'm going to take just a moment to pause here a second and see if I can get my Facebook Live feed going. And it looks like it may be going now. Leslie's not here to produce us through that today. So Charlotte and I are trying to wing it, but I think we're in good shape here. So I want to tell you a little bit about my travel adventures the last 8 weeks or so. I have been all over the place, and my post and my Travel Talk Tuesday topic today is exploring Europe, the good, the bad, the better, and the best. And I've been in Ireland, I've been in London, Paris, and in Italy quite a bit too. We've thrown a few more vacation trips in there as well, and I'll talk to you about that at another Travel Talk Tuesday. But Europe, exploring Europe, the good, the best thing we had, the good thing that we had during the time that I've been there is I spent about the first 3 weeks in Ireland, and the weather was perfect there. And you'll see in some of these videos, the weather was perfect in Ireland in the latter part of May and the first part of June. Blue skies every day, nice clouds, no rain. It only rained on us for about 45 minutes one day in Galway, and that was it during the whole time I was there. The bad about traveling in Europe this time of year is, boy, the further we got away from June and into July, the heat really set upon us all over Europe. There was a heat wave coming over, and we finished up the last 2 weeks or so in Italy. And one day we were in Florence, Firenze, and it was just unbearably hot, like walking in an oven. You know, Florence is in a big bowl of mountains anyway. And the thermometer read about 100 degrees, and it felt like about 108 degrees on the heat index. So the good is the Irish weather. The bad is the heat in late June and early July. And I'm sure it's just like that right now in August. The better is I had a chance to go up into the Eiffel Tower and actually to have dinner, not in the top restaurant, Jules Verne's, but in a very good restaurant called Madame Brasier. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that in tonight's Travel Talk Tuesday. And then the best, I think, is we were in Italy the last few weeks, and we had a chance on 3 or 4 different occasions to get beefsteak in various different places in Tuscany and also up in the Lake Como area in Milan. And the beefsteak was that thick, wonderful. It's T-bone steak. So you get the filet a little bit and you get the sirloin part a little bit, and just they cook it only at rare to medium rare. And it was succulent and great and good to taste and good to go along with all the ingredients there. So that's the 4 areas that we're going to talk about today. I showed you my tour route. We started in Ireland. I worked my way through London over to Paris, then all the way down to Rome, and did our Best of Italy tour. So I'm going to let the video run here, and I want to talk as we progress through tonight's Travel Talk Tuesday topics. I didn't include, we were in the Netherlands for a day or 2 as well, because that's where we began and ended one part of our journey. So this is all about Dublin and Ireland. So this is Dublin. You can see that pint of Guinness there, and we were right there at the Guinness Storehouse, the Gravity Bar at the top there at St. James Gate, the Guinness Brewery. This is the Halfpenny Bridge there in Dublin. You can see the weather is beautiful. And here we have inside Trinity College, this building I've never been inside before, but the new Trinity College tour called Trinity Trails goes inside a couple of the buildings on the campus. Hey, David McGuffin here. Last day of May in 2023, I've been to this monastic site, Glendalough, many, many times, but I just cannot get over visiting here and checking it out as a place where Christianity was spread to the pagans that lived here on the island way back in the 6th century or so by a missionary named Kevin. This is the round tower here, and it is, as you can see, a beautiful day
in Glendalough and the Wicklow Mountains. Hey, thanks for
the Irish weather,
the
the good part about the
with
tour.
David McGuffin's Exploring Europe from Ireland.
This is in the town of Kilkenny. I've never seen anybody go swimming in the River Nore. Another guy's jumping in. I don't have any way to bleep out anything. And we also have a dinner at my favorite place, Rinicini's Italian restaurant there in Kilkenny. Wonderful experience there on the River Nore, the castle there in the background.
Hey, David McGuffin here. I don't get up here near as much as I used to back in the day when I was driving. But our driver today, David, recommended we come up here. We're in County Kerry, the Kingdom of Kerry, right above Killarney National Park and the Killarney Lakes. Beautiful day today, as you can see. Just, I look like Dennis the Menace right here. With horses there in the background and these lakes here. My group's having a great time. Wonderful sunshine, about 65 degrees. So from Killarney, I hope you enjoyed this little look around.
Those mountains down there are on what's called the Ring of Kerry, and they're called McGillicuddy's Reeks.
Hey, David McGuffin here. A rare moment on the Slayhead Drive where there's only us people walking, me and my tour group, looking out here to the Atlantic Ocean. The Great Blasket Islands are back here in the background. So just a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. And we're enjoying the Dingle Peninsula and Slayhead Drive. I hope you enjoy this little look around. I'll try to film what we're doing today so you'll get it in perfect weather.
This was one of the tour boats that are now leaving from Dingle Harbor and going out toward the Blasket Islands there. And about 6 or 8 people are on that boat. It's a high-powered, fast boat. And they're going to that little beach area over there, or going up to it called, let me look at it here on my notes, Coolmanole Beach. Now, this is at a monastic site in an old church called Kilmacader Church. And the church dates back from the 6th and 7th century, from the 11th and 12th century. But the graveyard, this stone here, sundial, and the cross dates back even to times further beyond that. I'm told that that Celtic symbol and that Celtic sundial and the cross is about the only place in Ireland where 2 of those symbols are side by side. This is my friend Seamus and his wife there in Dingle. I just ran into them walking one night. This is out up near Galway on the Aran Islands, the island of Inishmore. And just a quick look, again, looking back from the island to the west, looking back to the east to the mainland. And this beautiful beach here. And again, you can see the weather is fantastic every day.
Times. Too many to count, but I've never been to it on the water. Today is my first day of doing that. We've taken a excursion out from Galway City Harbor to the Aran Island of Inishmore, and then on the way back, we get to come by the cliffs of Moher and view them from the water, sea level. A great experience here, and I'm going to continue to add that to my Taste of Ireland and my Best of Ireland tour. Hey, from the cliffs of Moher and the village of Doolin over here. Your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin. Hey, David McGuffin here. My gosh, this street 5 years ago was a brothel. And the only decent restaurant here was right here, a seafood restaurant called Oscar's. And now it is the happening scene. It's been promoted now as Galway's West End. You know, every every town in Europe has one of those things. So all kind of restaurants and everything else here. I just had dinner over here. I'll share that with you later on, but it was a great seafood restaurant. I've known that for maybe 10 years or so.
I was able to go in there and get fresh oysters, mussels, and fish. Just a wonderful, right out of the Bay of Galway. So wonderful restaurant to go to. Oscar's on the west end, across near the Claddagh area in Galway. This is in County Mayo, Kylemore Abbey. I think I'm coming up on camera to tell you about it.
Hey, David McGuffin here. Another record-breaking beautiful day here in Ireland, up in County Mayo at Kylemore Abbey. Beautiful place built in the 1860s in the neo-Gothic style. Just a wonderful time to come here and to hike along in the mountains. There's a Victorian garden up the way, about a mile away, that's beautiful as well. Plus the home here of the family that built it, the Henry family. Later became a convent for some of the Belgian nuns after World War I, and now is a classroom area for the University of Notre Dame there in the United States. Hey, from Kylemore Abbey, your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. Hey, David McGuffin here. I am in County Mayo in Ireland, and this lake behind me is called the Doolough. D-O-O-L-O-U-G-H, Doolough Valley. This valley is the Doolough Valley. It means the Black Lake. And the story goes, as you can see, there's a cross here and a memorial here. The story goes that at the end of the potato famine, the last winter, 1849, there was 200 Irish here that were in the servitude of the local land baron, and they were starving to death. They got on this road here and they walked back in that direction for, I don't know, it's probably 5 or 6 miles heading there because they were starving to death and they needed food, and they knew if they didn't go and beg for some food, they all were going to die. Well, eventually what happened was they got to the land baron's home. He said, forget it, go home. I don't have anything for you. You'll have to do it on your own. So they all turned around and started heading back up through this valley, and a blizzard came along. Darkness set upon the Doolough Valley here, and all 200 of the souls died along this way. And so what we have here is a memorial that's been put up to memorialize that moment and that time of history, and in hopes that it will never happen again. Hey, David McGuffin here. We are just a little bit to the west of Westport here in County Mayo. A few moments ago, I made a recording and probably have shared it with you from the Doolough, the Black Lake area, where during the famine, 1845 to 49, many people died on their way to try to find some food. Well, we've reached this National Famine Memorial here near Westport, and also near the jumping off point to hike up Croagh Patrick. This famine memorial was unveiled in 1994 by then President Mary Robinson. And to commemorate all of those who've died in the famine 1845 to 1850, and it also mentions to all the other victims of famine around the world. So if you happen to be up this part of Ireland, make sure you stop by and have a look at the famine memorial, and also do a little research on the famine, because it's a big part of history here in Ireland.
This is up in Northern Ireland. This is Dunluce Castle up on the coast, the Antrim coast. This is the little town of Portrush. Just a quick look across the charming little harbor with the fishing boats. It's kind of like a Coney Island of Northern Ireland. You can see a Ferris wheel in the background. And so another view of Dunluce Castle, which is nearby. Of course, the Cliffs of Moher are there, and this little rope bridge called the Carrigareek Rope Bridge as well. The day we were there, it was not open because of high winds. That was a picture I took from previous trip. We went on there to Belfast as well, and this is what's known now as the Peace Wall in Belfast. Now, if you look up there, it's over 20 feet high. So 2 stories, just think about it. And so we have a concrete wall, some tin, and then a big fence. And this wall divides the sectarian neighborhoods in Belfast, that being the neighborhoods of the Catholics and the neighborhood of the Protestants. And through much of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, this wall has 3 or 4 gates in it, and the gates were closed at dusk every night, and just to protect each neighborhood one from the other because of all the violence that happened there during the time of what we know as the Troubles. This is the Crown Bar, the oldest bar in Northern Ireland. It's right across the street from this famous hotel called the Europa Hotel, which has the reputation of being the hotel which has been bombed the most time in all of Europe. That is because of the Troubles, the IRA, and all of that went along with it. This is the Opera House, right downtown, also in Belfast. A beautiful building, and this here is the City Hall, neoclassical City Hall built there in Belfast. Queen Victoria out front. Hang on, I said neoclassical. Yeah, it is. So built in the middle 1700s, early 1800s. In the background, I'm gonna be quiet for a minute. In the background, you can hear preachers proclaiming the gospel of Christ outside the gates of that City Hall. And that must be a tradition, because every time I've been by there, there's been somebody on a bullhorn preaching the word. This is inside, a beautiful building inside that City Hall. Further on down toward the harbor is this famous square that has been regenerated and gentrified. That piece of artwork is known as the Pretzel. It's a meeting point in Belfast City. And looking around here, 20 years ago, even 15 years ago, at this place, you would not want to be walking around down here, especially after dark. But now a lot of new buildings have a lot of new businesses occupy those buildings and come in. This is a shopping mall that has been retrofitted into the old buildings in Belfast City. You can see the Victorian architectural style in Belfast City, but this is a multi-story shopping mall, glass roofs. It even has a modern Krispy Kreme Hot Now donut shop there that is opened up and is all the rage in Northern Ireland right now. Up in the top, you could go up and look all the way across the out to the harbor of Belfast and to the mountains beyond. And this is a glass dome that is up there. That's pretty cool as well to see from that Victoria Square Mall. This is the harbor and several of the modern buildings that are there. And this is the Belfast Titanic Memorial or Titanic Experience. And it is a wonderful thing. It opened in 2001 or 2, I believe, and has become almost the most popular tourist attraction in all of Northern Ireland. You recall that that's going faster than I want to talk. Going back to the Titanic real quick. You recall the Titanic was constructed there in Belfast, right there at those shipyards, and in 1912, it went out on this maiden voyage and did not make it across the Atlantic Ocean, hit some icebergs and collapsed. And while we were there, it was all during that time that just recently that the explorers were going down in that sub to look at the remains of the Titanic on the floor, and then something happened with the little pod of the sub, and it exploded, and all the lives were lost as well. So kind of bringing the story back to home while we were right there in Belfast City as well. From Belfast, we did another couple of Ireland tours, and then I got on a plane and flew over to London. And I had a group of people meet us in London, and we did a whole lot of the typical sightseeing in London. But one of the first things I did that I've never done before is attending the Warner Brothers studio and learning about Harry Potter. I think I've got a little blurb of me talking about this coming up next, but this is inside the studios of Harry Potter.
Hey, David McGuffin here.
There wasn't a blurb about that. I guess I left it out, but I knew about Harry Potter, but I was enthralled with the way that that museum, it's not a museum, the studios had all the parts of the sets and everything there. And so I immediately went back and downloaded Harry Potter 1 on my Kindle and have begun reading that. So I look forward to showing you in depth my experience at the Warner Brother Harry Potter Studios. From there, we took the Channel. Oh no, from there, we went up into the London Eye.
London Eye for a long time. And believe it or not, I've probably been to London 100 or so times, but this is only my second time being up here in the London Eye. We're in the River Thames right here behind us. We're at the apex of this London Eye, the great, huge, almost Ferris wheel-like structure right here on the south bank of the River Thames. We're looking back up the river, and behind me is a whole lot of the structure you can barely see. Right over here behind me, a little bit of Parliament Hall and Westminster Tower back there with the flag flying. And do a little spin back around this way. And here is the Shard right here behind me. That's in on the south bank across from the city.
Okay.
And these are all my friends. Hey guys, how y'all doing? You enjoying London today?
Yeah.
And right down there is a great view of the House of Parliament, the clock, the tower, and the bell in the tower is Big Ben. So the tower is not Big Ben. Okay, so from London, your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. Hey, David McGuffin here at the Palace of Versailles, just outside of France. We're going to take a quick look around today into this Palace of Louis XIV. Okay, so I had a couple of extra hours here in the Eiffel Tower, and
This is the good, bad, better, and best. This is the better part. I had the privilege of going up to the Eiffel Tower twice in the period of 1 week. And I usually don't go up because I don't really buy a ticket when I'm there by myself. I send the rest of the groups up to experience the Eiffel Tower, but we had an extra one the first time, and then the second time I just got in the line and stood in line because I wanted to see and research what it took to get into the Eiffel Tower without pre-booking a ticket online. And it was actually not too bad at all. We went sort of like about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We stood in line, it said an hour. So we stood in line there and were able to make sure that, we just stood in line. Like I said, it took about an hour, and then to get our ticket and then to get up in there. Not too much longer than the line with pre-bought tickets that you pay €100 for to go and do the same experience. Maybe with that, by paying €100, we saved about 20 minutes. But if I buy a ticket to the top of the Eiffel Tower, I stand in line to get it, and I choose the time of day that I want to do it at a good time when the line is not too long, I only pay €25 to do that. So a big savings. So a tip for you guys going to Paris is that if you can't buy a ticket online at the price, don't go to the scalping sites like the other city tours and that kind of stuff and pay €100 or €120. Stand in line, get your ticket, and go directly up. So I'm going to the Eiffel Tower dinner. I'll tell you a little bit about that right now.
went up to the second level at least, which is way up there. Came down to the first level, kind of visited the bar and the exposition and everything over here. To get this, kind of visited the bar and the exposition, everything. And then I ended the afternoon at this, Madame Brassier, and had a glass of wine and some escargot. So never done that before, a new experience on the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe.
So to reiterate that, after doing that, I kind of got the plan of how to do this restaurant. So if you show up there around 4 o'clock, you can go in and they don't serve food. They just serve a drink and you get a glass of wine or champagne or whatever. And they give you some peanuts or something to munch on. Dinner service starts at 5:30. So if you're sitting there at the table, looking out all over Paris, nursing your drink, when 5:30 comes along, they bring the menu and you can order your full dinner right there, 3 or 4 courses, and have a wonderful dinner right there from the Eiffel Tower looking out. And so I did that the next 3 or 4 days later with my group. I was taking a group of friends around. There's just a father, son, a wife, and their daughter celebrating their 16th birthday. And I planned that out for them, let them go onto the top of the tower. I went and got a table, and we had a great dinner that night at the Eiffel Tower. By the way, those escargot are pretty good as well. From there, I headed all the way down to Italy, and I'm going to go quickly through here. That was Mar Campo in Tuscany. This is, as you can see, St. Peter's Square. This is our group on our bus in Tuscany. There was 10 of us in this particular tour. I got to go to the beach outside of Rome for 2 days on a sort of a mini vacation. This is just on the Gulf of Mexico, on the Ligurian Sea, the Tyrrhenian Sea. There, that's me at the beach. The waves were wonderful. The water was great. The sun was great. Also, the sun was also very great at the Colosseum. And that brings me to another topic of the bad. By the time we got to Italy, it was about the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of July. And boy, the temperatures were soaring. And we happened to be, we were in Rome 2 days. We ended up in the Cinque Terre, which is a beautiful little area in Liguria. That is a set of 5 little villages. And boy, I'm glad we were there because it was hot. Some of the people in our group did the hiking trails. Charlotte and I did the tourist thing and sit in an umbrella all day at the beach. We were in Tuscany. We saw those sunflowers were full bloom all over the place.
Essence of Italy tour and Best of Italy tour. And it is a beautiful day just looking at it. I'm glad that the camera does not pick up on the heat because my watch says it's 98 degrees Fahrenheit right here, right now at 6 o'clock in the evening. You can see a lot of tourists here. And of course, we're at Giotto's Tower, Brunelleschi's Dome, and of course, the famous Santa Maria del Fiore Duomo, main church basilica here in Florence. Hey, your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. La Tua Aventura.
That was I'll have to stop. That was not intended to be there, but let me see if I can say it, because during the trip in Italy, I learned how to say your adventure starts here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. I haven't practiced it in 2 weeks, but Charlotte's in front of me as well. Let me see if I can do it. La tua avventura inizia qui con David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. Hey, how's that? Venice was wonderful. This is a beautiful little village of Burano. Then we went up to Lake Como. This is from the village of Verena looking over, and the typical site in Bellagio as well. And then we ended it with our friends Leslie and Steve looking out to the lakes of Lake Como. Hey, I want to stop it right here, and because I'm almost at the end. And you know what? I don't even have a photo of the best of the whole summer, and that is all the steak that we had. And I told you about that earlier, but I bet if you look through some of the archives, you can find plenty of photos and videos of beefsteak Fiorentina, and so we enjoyed that too. So I'm promoting tonight from now until the middle of August, the 21st, two tours that we have a few seats left on, and I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to be a part of it. Christmas in July discount. We're offering $300 off the Christmas tour that we just introduced last year, and it seems to be very, very popular. And that is Christmas markets that are in Italy and in Germany and in France. So 3 different varieties and different cultures and 3 different varieties of Christmas markets. This tour actually begins the Sunday after Thanksgiving here in the United States, and it goes for 1 week, Sunday to Sunday. So if you're interested, give me a call or send me an email or sign up online, and we'll take that $300 off. We'd love to have a few more people join us on that tour. I think we've only got at the most maybe 4 seats left, maybe even 2. So that's what we've got there on that one. And then the other thing I want to promote is our Amalfi and our Islands tour, which happens in April. And I was giving you I'm going back, giving you the route of what we do on that Christmas market tour. So you see that beginning in Frankfurt, ending in Munich. And then we also have the midsummer discount for the Amalfi and Islands tour. And that is discounted $100 off, so making it $34.89. So we'd love to have you look at that and see what happens south of Rome. And with that, we're just about done because I'm exhausted. I've been putting this together all day, and Charlotte and I are struggling to make all this work, but I think we got all the technology going just fine. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I'm heading back out to Ireland and Scotland for another couple of weeks, and the next Travel Talk Tuesday will be, I think, around the 25th of August or so. And I'll be reporting on the Highland Games in Scotland and the Royal Military Tattoo in Edinburgh. But until then, your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later next time.